Wow, I had a great time this morning talking about what love does and what defensiveness does. I had a couple great conversations about that. Coming attractions, when you think you're being oppressed and you become a great oppressor. So I wanted to just make an audio recording of what love does and why the spirit of love is the most threatening spirit that Jesus was killed for. I heard a man tell a story one time about his great love for a woman. The love of God he had for her, that love became like an x-ray machine that exposed everything in her soul, including her love for everything else but for him. Why is love so threatening? Because nothing can be done against it. You know what the devil did, the accuser, the slanderer? He came to Adam and Eve and said, you don't have what you need right now. You need something else. You need something else. He sabotaged love with fear. The difference between the slanderer and the accuser and the devil and love is this. Love has faith. Love is God. Love is faith. Faith is God. Jesus was faith, he was hope, and he was love. Jesus always had what he needed right now, whenever he needed it. Fear is the exact opposite of love. As a matter of fact, the spirit of love said in the Bible, he who fears has not been made perfect in love. So fear is actually the reason that most of the madness goes on in the world that goes on today. So the slanderer, the accuser, has a gospel, the gospel of fear and unbelief. He was the first one to preach it, and God, the face of voice in God is Jesus. So most likely, it was Jesus that was in the garden with Adam and Eve that said, if you eat these apples, you guys, I love you so much, please don't eat them, you'll die. Well, they didn't have ears here, did they? There's a right kind of fear to have, but maybe the greatest fear we should have is life without the spirit of love. The slanderer was the first to preach, the grass is greener on the other side of the fence. Over the fence of love, to live for your own selfish gain and pleasure and for your own belly and your worldly appetites. And you should take risks. The risks of violating love with lying, hiding, pretending, being cunning and crafty. Cain lived in the same dimension of finding greener grass. He shut down his conscience to play and to be great in the kingdom of the world. So he ended up slaying his brother. We see that playing out today in all kinds of ways in those that practice the things that God hates in Proverbs 6. You should look it up. Love is patient, love is kind, and it builds bridges and breaches. Love makes a way where there is no way. Love seeks what's lost, but only when led by the Spirit. Love understands why people shut it out with offenses. Love has plans for us for good, not evil, to give us an expected end. Love is also threatening, and love also exposes who it loves just by loving. Love is greatly feared. That's why people live in dumpsters, to avoid the responsibility of loving. Those who love rescue others from dumpsters. Love rescues. Love understands the bars of the castle of offended souls. Love will give you an inheritance, but also it'll let you go roll in the mud with the pigs. Love holds up a mirror to those it loves. Love exposes to others their riches in this world that they care about more than love. Love is a peacemaker. Love is a reconciler. Love is pure. Love is merciful. Love understands life in the dumpster. Have you ever seen the movie The Never-Ending Story? The boy lives in fear and hides in a dumpster. That's what the fearful do. That's what life behind the bushes, where Adam and Eve all of a sudden were afraid they no longer had what they needed. And Jesus was slighting them, and he was a respecter of persons. Their eyes got opened to how God was selfish and guilty and only did right by himself and was wronging them. All of a sudden, Jesus was blind and they could see clearly. But they didn't do what love would do before they ate of the fruit of lies. Like, let's talk and be open, and maybe we should go talk to the good Father who's given us this beautiful place to live in, before we dive into the ditch of leaning on our own understanding. So in the movie, the boy actually listens to the voice of fear. His horse is drowning in the sand of sadness. If you have never seen, the never-ending story, you might not be able to understand what I'm saying, but I'm going to try to simplify what the movie actually says, because there's a horse that goes into the quicksand and dies of sadness. And then he meets a two-headed turtle that is basically saying, I don't even care that I don't even care. And then he goes into the land where it's being destroyed by fear and has no faith, not even a mustard seed. So it's all falling apart. And the wolf in the movie is loosing his doctrine. Those who are afraid are easy to control. So love understands why people are dead while they live. Faith works by love, and love is the never-ending story. Love understands life in a dumpster. Love understands self-pity. Love understands fear. Love understands unbelief. Love understands offenses and bitterness. Loving someone with a pure heart is like holding up a mirror to their very own soul. That's why love is threatening, because it exposes how other people don't love and live to make people guilty. So loving someone with a pure heart is like holding up a mirror. Yeah, sorry, I read that already, but it's why love is rejected also. Love is misunderstood by those who have a log in their eye. So the problem is people with a log in their eye think they're seeing real clearly. Fear doesn't understand love. Love understands why the law kills. Love hopes all things and believes all things. Love is the greatest gift in the world. Love is also the most threatening again. It's also something we can always do better at. Love isn't terrorized. It won't get its needs met. Love has faith. Fear doesn't. Love hopes all things, believes all things, for love is hope. Love is faith. Love is God, and love is the greatest power, because he created the heavens and the earth. In the never-ending story, a mustard seed of faith shows up. Faith works by love. So love saves the land from falling apart. Love reconciles. And man, walking in a dimension of love instead of fear, even though you're despised, hated, rejected, Jesus said all those things, that people that don't want the obligation of love will be happy to put you to death. And there's all kinds of ways that people are putting each other to death. Yeah, I could do a whole nother video on that, about a story I read yesterday, but for now, I'm going to sign off. I hope this helps somebody. Amen.